So I will pass it over to Marion now, who is one of our co-coordinators for the World Beyond War Senegal chapter, and Marion will be moderating day 1 of this World Beyond War Africa conference. So take it away, Marion.
Hello everybody, welcome, bienvenue, salam alaikum. Akwaba, si la Côte d'Ivoire est avec nous. Welcome to this first World Beyond War African Peace Conference. This is the first day, and none of us would be here without the will of one person. He is a writer, he is a secondary school teacher, he is a peace activist. He created the first ever World Beyond War African chapter in Cameroon. His name is Guy, and Guy, please welcome everybody like you know how to do.
Thank you so much, Mariam. It's my pleasure to welcome you. Warm greeting from Cameroon. From whichever part of the world you are receiving us, who are connecting, welcome to this first World Beyond War Africa Peace Conference, through which we want to imagine Africa beyond war. And we want to do much more than imagining Africa beyond war. We want to find out how we can really make it possible. So I'm greatly privileged to speak here today to welcome you to this conference, which is part of Cameroon chapter's roadmap, and which has been made possible thanks to the active collaboration of African chapter coordinators and World Beyond War at global level. So we are honored to have you here today. So through this 3-day conference, we want to showcase the opportunities that World Beyond War chapters in Africa have to end wars in the continent and contribute to world peace building efforts, because we all need a safer world. No one is safe until everyone is safe. Our commitment to peace is rooted in the deep conviction that our joint efforts can help restore a world where people love and respect each other, and where human beings treat each other as such. So this message makes total sense when it comes from Africa, Africa being the cradle of humanity. So I hope that the conference that begins today will enable us to achieve 3 things. 1, make World Beyond War known in Africa and extend it further, as this is one of the opportunities that we have to put an end to the system of war. And secondly, want to expose Africa's specific security challenges and explore how we can pool our efforts to achieve peace. Because whether they are in the West, in the East, in Africa, or elsewhere, wars cause the same damage and trauma to people's lives and have the same serious consequences for the environment. So it is our collective task to show equal solidarity to all the people affected by wars, to address wars in Africa the same way as elsewhere, and to look for solutions with the same seriousness for stopping it and rebuild devastated areas. And thirdly, we want to celebrate peace. Africa has a long tradition of indigenous mechanism which, long before colonization, enabled people to live in peace, build solidarity, and prevent conflict. So celebrating peace for us begins by revisiting these mechanisms and integrating them into our work and habits. This month of November is an occasion for celebration, as this year marks the 3rd anniversary of the creation of the first World Beyond War chapter in Africa, that was in Cameroon, on November 20th in the year 2020. We are celebrating it with World Beyond War members and affiliates from around the world, organizations that share similar goals, and stakeholders that do, I hope, are going to commit to support our work. I would like to thank you all for your presence and the energy you bring to our work. With your help, we will make this conference an annual event, and we look forward to hosting it in person in one of our African countries in the coming years. My sincere thanks to the African chapter coordinators, the board and staff of World Beyond War, who have worked together for months to make this event happen. Now that we are here, let's make it meaningful for peace in Africa. I thank you. Thank you so much. I give back the floor to you, Marion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Guy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So before Guy brought World Beyond War in Africa, World Beyond War was already existing all around the world. And it was created, I think, a decade ago by two Davids somewhere in North America. And today we have one of the David with us. He is also our executive director, and I let him talk right now. David Swanson, it's your turn to talk.
Thank you, Marion. World Beyond War was created almost 10 years ago by a lot of people, including myself and David Hartso. I'm glad everyone is thanking Guy, and thanking each other today in the United States is a holiday when you're supposed to thank people. So I am thankful for all of you doing what you've started doing in Africa. I'm gonna try not to raise my hand too much because I think it makes balloons appear. I'm not sure how that happens, but if it wants to make balloons appear now, it can do it. Oh well. I think we are up against a lot. You can see right now in Gaza what the United States government and other governments are capable of, even when it's all over the television, that they are willing to openly cheer for horrific mass murder. But we have the ability to stop wars, to stop bases, to stop weapons shipments, to make peace agreements. I'm not gonna describe what World Beyond War is because Greta has made a wonderful video that does it better than I can. But we use education and activism and media, and we have a global presence so that we can work in coalition across distances. So people in Montenegro can oppose a new military base, and people in the United States and the other NATO countries that want the military base can support them, and we're much more powerful together than we would be in one place. I think when it comes to Africa, I want, the continent with the most countries in the world to be shaping what World Beyond War does around the world. I want you all to take the lead and influence the rest of us on what we do going forward. But I think you can learn a lot from the example of Rachel in Canada and others that you're going to see. I think the United States government has a huge impact in Africa, but the United States public has virtually no idea what's going on. I think the place that manufactures the fewest weapons, but probably has the most wars, there is almost no understanding in the places that do manufacture the weapons and send them to Africa of what's going on, and manufacture the military training that results in coups, desired and not desired, by people trained by the US military. There was a recent article that found that base construction and drones and anti-terrorism efforts by the United States in Africa had resulted in a 75,000% increase in terrorism. So it doesn't matter if these things work on their own terms, they just plow ahead. I think Africa is also the place that uses the International Criminal Court and international institutions for better or worse, whereas the countries that bomb people in the name of a rules-based order don't. So where is the rules-based order and where is the lawlessness? It's almost the opposite of what we are told to think where I live. So I think we need to look to the example of people in Africa that have done great things for peace, including in South Africa, and learn the lessons correctly, and stop being told lies about what happened and what should have happened in Rwanda that are used to make horrible things happen in places like Libya. Learn what happened in Congo. So I think the idea that Marian has come up with of a petition globally and a campaign globally around a petition to get all the military bases out of Djibouti is a wonderful example of something we can work on, where it can be a global effort, where we can get voices and faces of people from Djibouti and from Africa, but also from the United States and China and France and Germany and Italy and Saudi Arabia. And it's not taking sides in this, sick competition between the United States and China. It's taking the side of peace against the side of putting everybody's military bases in Africa, whether Africans want them or not. So I think it's a wonderful test of, can we build pressure in China? Can we build pressure in the United States, in Germany, in France, and in Africa and the regions surrounding Djibouti and in Djibouti, and together we be stronger and educate and activate and produce the global awareness that something better is needed than piling up military bases from nations that hate each other, whose governments hate each other. Can we instead make Djibouti a model for what should be done for peace? So I'm eager to watch the videos of this conference and to work with all of you going forward on the ideas you have for Africa and for the rest of the world. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Yes, we are stronger together. For the French-speaking people, on est plus fort quand on est tous ensemble. So now we come back to Africa, and we're going to tell you a little bit more what we are doing here in Africa in our different countries. And I would like to start with my dear friend Jane from Nigeria. Jane, don't forget to unmute yourself if you want us to hear you.
Okay, I think it sounds great. Now I'm okay. You can
Yes,
hear
we can
me?
hear you now. Yeah.
All right. My name is Obiora Jane. Chapter coordinator from Nigeria, and happy to be here. I say wonderful thank you to Guy for this initiative and pulling us together to become one force in Africa. And like David says, one voice, one people. And thank you, Greta, too, for your immense support. I'll be taking from the Nigerian perspective. I don't know, would my slide be shared or I share?
You can go ahead and screen share.
Okay, give me some time to do that now. I'll be sure, okay, sure. Is anyone seeing my slide?
It's still loading. There we go. We can see it now.
Okay. I wouldn't waste much time with the preamble. We are World Beyond War chapter Nigeria, and I'll be speaking to this outline briefly. I think I have 5 minutes. I wouldn't want to spend much time talking on this. World Beyond War overview has been established, so we don't need to overflow that. We are people movements trying to end war and abolish all weapons of war, because war has never given us the lead. It has never given us the progress He has never given us the desired outcome. Peace is needed because with peace there will be development. When I want to give a history little, when we get the capacity to establish chapter, a lot of challenges come, a lot of discouragement came. But thank you to Guy. I need to make this public very well. When we were in the demo research residence, and Guy kept mentioning World Beyond War, World Beyond War. I was like, it's not this World Beyond War that we're together. And I said, Guy, is it World Beyond War? I mentioned a lot of people. There is yes. I said, wow, you were able to make it. We talked to Elaine and encouraged me. I picked the muzzle. So I want to encourage everyone with this message. As I was encouraged, I'm encouraging everyone who is yet to start the chapter. You are not doing your country favor. You need to start now doing something because Africa needs peace, Africa needs development. So we are civil society coalition working together with the government, researchers, academias, media, private sectors, community leaders to promote just, healthy, inclusive, and peaceful society. Our vision, we are like what we are, a world beyond the world. And the mission, we are to mobilize people, state actors, to get, to achieve what we set to do. Quickly, Nigeria is very heterogeneous and complex nation, and World Beyond activity cover national. We have 36 states and FCT with 772 local government. You can see how large Nigeria is with diverse people. So we have regions in the east, in the north, south, and west. Why we operate with created structure. When I assume the leadership, I created structure. So we have structures around us. We have technical groups with their leaders, and we are still there, not there much, but we are doing pretty well. Quickly, like I said, World Beyond World, like I said, we have established structures. We have technical working group. Thank you, Greta, who supported us immensely. We are doing greatly on signing pledges. We did publications where our own from the research group wrote about ECOWAS Niger conflict. We have public meetings and dialogue we conduct. We did on the Peace Day, we celebrated International Peace Day, where we bring everyone and we held a public dialogue on the state of the nation. And in line with what we are doing today, we want to do the state of Africa nations. What is the peace like? What are we doing to see how we promote peace and ensure that we get the stability? We also conduct arts and sports. And quickly, we use several approaches. Like I said, we are not doing it alone. You can see the beautiful here. You see woman, man, children, father, youth, everybody on board. Collaboration and partnership is very needed. Not only Nigeria, as Africa, we are coming to build synergy together. So we work with government, like I mentioned, partners, philanthropists, all stakeholders. We need everybody to be on board. And as well, I'm stretching into the Africa. We want to see a vision where Cameroon and Nigeria come together to work in every country. Senegal, Burundi, every African coming together, having one voice. Our audiences, like I've just said, this is just an infographic. Maybe, I think, Guy, you have it, you can, I don't know if it's required to share, but this is people we work with, government institutions, executive legislators, community gatekeepers. You can't go to community without the gatekeepers. You need to work with them, media researchers, and civil society. Pretty, this is what we are doing, and we are going to be working across Africa, building synergies and coming up with another initiative. Maybe, yeah, it's almost rounding up. We are cooking up some little things again to get engaged. we have social media platform we have established, and we have an email, we have Facebook, we have website, Twitter, LinkedIn, and others that are trying to come about. I forgot to mention we have up to 30 members, and more than 30 members because new people join. So I've not really set to get the data. And thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you very much. Now we're going to travel a little bit more. Maybe, Jane, if you want to stop sharing your screen. So maybe Elvis, because we're now going to Burundi, and Elvis is going to tell us what they're doing in his country. So Elvis, I can see you on my screen. Are you still with us?
I don't think Elvis is here at the moment, but we can try to come back to him.
Okay. So after that, we have 3 emerging chapters. And I would like to ask now Leon from the Democratic Republic of Congo to tell us what they are doing in his country. Leon, are you with us at the moment?
I don't think Leon has audio connected yet, so we may want to go to someone else for the moment.
Okay. So I can see Moses on my screen, and I know that I can hear him. He talked to me earlier. He is from Uganda. So Moses, if you can start your video and tell us what the amazing job you're doing in Uganda at the moment. Here he is.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I want to send my great appreciation to Guy for organizing this African conference. And also I want to appreciate the whole team of World Beyond War for having this first ever meeting for the Africa. Yes, I'm Moses Ogwang Adonyo from Uganda, the chapter coordinator for the World Beyond War. I love this because when I grew up in the war zone, especially in the internally displaced people camp in northern Uganda for the last 20 to 25 years. I've been in the camp. I was born. So when I look at this, I found it is a credible time for us to say no to any wars, say no to any conflicts, because I've never seen any results of that. And I believe that based on that, we as African, especially in Africa, where Uganda is also, I know we are much based on emphasize that the having a harm complex can solve the problems. And this is very common in Uganda, where they always take it as a lead that whenever that a peace organization maybe is trying to do, they can come out, they say no, it is only the gun that can use. But I want to say that our World Beyond War chapter, in Uganda, it started last year with a group of poor people that have come together. And then we formed and we started registering many members that included those one of journalists, some researchers, the medic, especially we work with the people that are in medical fertility, because we look at when war happened, the first people that is the victims of the war, it is the medical personnel. Because I'm a medical personnel, I know that they're the one we send on the front line to all the teams are brought. I said this is the time that we need to come out. We said no to war. Then also we look at the medical student. And as World Beyond War in Uganda, we are targeting mostly the medical student, where we need to approach them so that they should, one, avoid the issues of the nonviolent issue solving at schools, because we know that that's the first ever if you want to achieve the goals to end war. Based on that, we have done a number of the policy review, especially on the constitutions of Uganda, where we have looked at much of them support solving fire with a fire. But this is a time that we are saying, no, the fire, if you are trying to light another fire that you are going to solve, it may not end. So this time that we are coming together as a team in Africa and the team of the whole world, we need to we need to come out together. Then we say no, as the director have said, David have said, we can head war, we can stop harm shipping to Africa. We can also advocate for other places like DRC Congo, where currently the conflicts, it is about 3 to 4 countries that are being engaged in, and we don't know who are causing all that. So basically, in Uganda, we are just started, and our chapter is still young, and there's a numbers of challenges that we are still facing, especially when our government of Uganda, the moment they hear the word war, they misinterpret. There's one leader when we approach the conference at the district, and then we say this are a world beyond war. It interpreted to the security that I'm establishing a war against the government. And it made, when we push our registrations, was already or incorporated, just now remaining for us to finalize. It was canceled immediately. And as a talk has been canceled, they say they don't want to hear any word war in whatever that we wanted to do. So the moment we put the word war, they interpret that is war. We try to explain the objectives and the missions of the World Beyond War, that is for the peaceful end of war. And two, they are working to see that the violence, the non-violence activity must take place so that the people should build their heart, so that they should avoid issues of violence, they avoid the issues of conflicts. And we were trying to tell the government the root cause of that can cause conflicts. One of them, we look at a simple way, what is causing strikes in many schools, because the statistics in Uganda tell us that around for the last 5 years, in many schools in Uganda, were about 65% were causing strike in school. So when we look at that, we find these are very simple things. It's maybe just disagreement between the teacher or the director of the school with the student, and something very little that can even be settled. But once the teachers or the school administration put themselves into high, so that one at the end it caused, and then immediately when it happened, the government came out with the guns, killing students, shooting, so the whole thing passed. So every school. So we say no. Our mission also is to start with these simple things, so that we should avoid it in school, so that if any strike is taking place, harm should not be immediate reaction to that. Why don't we call for the peaceful dialogues? So that is where we are, but we are pushing, and I know that we had last week. I had a communication with a discussion with the registrars of company. I talked to him. I said the interpretation one of the leaders made last year in the meeting, describing world beyond the word war as bringing war to the country. It is not true. So basically, that's we are, but we are pushing. We have celebrated we have trained about 3 schools that we have reached in Uganda. The medical schools, we reached one in Luero, that is Luero School of Clinicals, Nurses, and a midwife, so that we train them in the peace building solving in schools. And also we reach in the later university schools. And also we are trying also to move around. So that is the one challenge that we got. So basically, thanks so much. I'm happy. I know that this is today I may learn a lot so that can give us a push. What can we push next? And after this meeting, I may get connections with the gay from Cameroon so that he can explain to me how did he go about and then he completed the process of the legality of the World Beyond War in this country so that we can also move. Then at the end will not bring for us again because they can turn anytime to say, these are the wrong people, they are working without legality. But we have support from my organization that we are working on. We say these are the team that are working together. So basically, that is what I could say. Thanks so much. I'm happy to be here, and I know we shall move together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moses, for explaining us what you're doing and what challenges you're facing just by saying that we are world beyond war. Thank you very much. Now I would like to come back a little bit to the west of Africa in Mali. Fatoumata, if you're ready to tell us about what you are doing. Fatoumata has just started her chapter, but she is extremely active. So Fatoumata, tell us what you are working on at the moment. I've heard of some peace clubs.
Okay, I'm truly happy to join this movement, which aim to build a just world and promote peace around the world. So I would like to share my screen. So this is the Mali, a country of West Africa with many borders. Mali has been confronted with multidimensional crisis since 2012, and we are not only facing armed conflict between the state and government. We are also dealing with terrorism, intercommunal conflict, and which resulted in coup d'etat, political instability, and controversial international presence. So these are the main terrorist organizations that are active in Mali now, like Jamal Nusrat and Al-Janim, we call it. We have État Islamique au Grand Sahara. We have Katiba Masina, all of these groups. We have other subgroups that exist that are very active, but these are the main ones. So this group has been involved in a lot of human rights violations against civilians, kidnapping, threaten social economic life, and also they manipulate intercommunal conflict to achieve their gains. And so Mali, actually, we have a lot of internal displaced and migrants. This is the responses that have been used by the state to deal with the crisis. We have the Serval mission. That was an anti-tourism force led by French. It was here it operated to fight against terrorism. And later this force has been replaced by Bakan force. And this was ousted by the government last year. We also have United Nations multidimensional peacekeeping missions, and which also at the request of the government, the international community decided to recall this mission. So MINUSMA have to pack its affairs in the coming December. We also have G5 countries. Is a coalition of five states to fight against terrorism. We have Alger Peace Accord, which has been signed between armed group and the states. And now this armed group has been, there have been a lot of tension now, resulting in death of many civilians and military forces, because some signatories to the agreement decided to leave it after the departure of the multidimensional peacekeeping mission. So there are always now current direct confrontation between them. We also have the alliance that I'm just talking about, the alliance of Sahel states. This has been this alliances has been established just recently to fight against terrorism, and this has resulted, I can say, to the liberation, because there are more cooperation between these different states, Burkina, Mali, Niger, in terms of sharing information and fight against terrorists. So this is supposed to be effective according to many people. So that's what I just explained. The key challenges, the Alger Peace Agreement is stalled due to the clashes between the government and some separatist rebel group. So we cannot, although the state is declaring that is attached to the agreement, but in practice it's not the case, because there is no just implementation, and terrorists are intensifying their activities in this region. And we also have confusions between civilians and terrorists. Some civilians may be perceived by armed force as having links with terrorist organization. So what are the main activities? So thanks to the commitment of Marion, we were able to initiate some activities. We have recruited some volunteers and invest in peace and invest in peace education. So we are engaging our initiative. We really want to engage to put in place peace club in different schools to educate the young people about peace and conflict resolutions. We are going to organize different meetings with relevant ministries to have a protection and to create like national ownership of the initiative. And we also plan to visit visit some schools to put in place those clubs. We are how do we say it? We are in planning activities, and I think we are going to learn more from this conference. because so we can improve our own, like the one from Nigeria, the one from Moses is from which country? Yes, we can learn a lot from him as well as
Uganda. Uganda.
Uganda. Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fatoumata, for this amazing presentation and for highlighting the fact that we are a team. We all work together. This teamwork is really one main element of World Beyond War, and especially in Africa. And speaking of this, Leon and Elvis has been able to join us. So if one of you, Elvis from Burundi or Leon from the Democratic Republic of Congo, if one of you can unmute and tell us what you're doing in your own country.
Yes, let me start. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. My name is Elvis. I'm chapter country coordinator from Burundi, World Beyond War. I'm happy to be here, learning from you and getting connected with you. So Burundi is an East Africa country that experienced many wars, especially civil war. So what we are doing here in Burundi, we are educating young people, students from different campuses in our country, universities, and educating and prevent tomorrow. So I'm not going to present today, but tomorrow, surely I will share my slide and show you what we are doing in Burundi. Yeah, things like that. Okay, thank you so much for Guy for this initiative. Surely it was what I dreamed to see people from Africa involved in creating chapters in Africa for World Beyond War. So this is an occasion, and surely I'm here and learn from you. And thank you so much for the board, especially Greta, who always support our initiatives, doing follow-up, things like that. Thank you so much for you all. Thank you so much for you coordinators across the world, across Africa. Let's do it. Let's share peace in Africa and see Africa beyond the war. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Elvis, for saying all this. And yes, I just want to take the time to thank Greta for everything she does for us, and also to answer the question in the chat about the availability of the presentation. So yes, I'm sure Greta will find a way to send you this presentation. So Greta, can we have the presentation?
Guy and I we will be working on a follow-up email afterwards. So yeah, everyone who registered, and we had almost 200 registrants, which is amazing. They will all get the recording. So again, lots of people couldn't join us live, and those who are joining us live, if you can't join for all 3 days, that's okay, because we will send out that email at the end with the recording and different resources and materials.
So see, we're not lying. She's making miracles for us every day. So you will have all the presentation. But I think that Leon from the Democratic Republic of Congo has joined us live. So Leon, if you can unmute yourself, we're ready to listen to you.
Marian, sorry, can you invite him? Just speaking little French, because he is.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So Léon, si tu veux commencer ta présentation en français. et je vais traduire l'essentiel de ce que tu dis en anglais. So for the English-speaking audience, Leon is going to speak French and I'm going to translate, the main message in English for you. Tu peux commencer, Léon, ta présentation. On ne peut pas t'entendre, il faudrait ouvrir le micro. Maybe Greta, if you have a way to unmute Leon from your...
Yeah, I've clicked the button to he should see a button that says unmute.
Oh,
But I can't do it. I have to just ask him to do it. So he should be able to click that.
Léon, je ne sais pas si vous voyez un bouton qui dit comme réactiver le microphone. Il faut appuyer sur ça parce qu'on ne s'écoute pas. On ne s'entend pas.
En fait, c'est vraiment sur l'image en haut à droite de là où tu vois ton propre visage. En haut à droite, il y a un petit mute, unmute, et il faut juste cliquer dessus. Oui, bonjour Léon, c'est à toi. Oh, je ne sais pas. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but the image is frozen, so maybe the connection is unstable.
Maybe tell him to turn off the video if the connection is unstable.
Pour l'instant, Léon, on ne peut pas t'entendre.
Vous l'avez bien fait avec votre microphone. Je pense que le problème, c'est que c'est quelque chose avec votre connexion.
Yeah, for sure, it's network issues.
Okay, so we're going to go on for now. So, Léon, si à un moment donné la connexion est meilleure, n'hésite pas, tu nous arrêtes et on écoutera ta présentation. So I'm going to go on with the last chapter we have at the moment in Africa is the one here in Senegal. And so the idea of this Senegal chapter was born last June when the country was set ablaze by when one of the candidates to the election, Ousmane Sonko, was jailed. So there were a demonstration in the streets of Dakar, and we have seen an extremely brutal repression that was shocking. We have had 23 deaths in 3 days because of police brutality. So that was a shock. And we said, yeah, there is emergency. We need to do something. And after that, at the same time, there were a peace agreement signed in Casamance between one of the armed groups and the government. And it was good news, but we also realized that there were still many active armed groups in this region. So we also wanted to do something about this. This is a conflict which lasts for years. So we officially launched the chapter on the 21st of September this year during the International Day of Peace. And we did that in Ziguinchor. We were warmly welcomed by La Plateforme des Femmes pour la Paix en Casamance, because women in this region are extremely active in the peace building. And so we thought that with this conflict and the police brutality, we had already a lot on our plate, but working, on the networking, meeting new partners, we realized that there were a lot more to do. Just a reminder that here in Senegal, 58.2% of the population are young people. So in terms of peace education, there is a lot to be done. And so we are working at the moment on a National Youth Forum for Peace and Security with another of our partner, which is Peace Academy. And doing all this networking and, meeting with people, we heard more and more some fear about terrorism coming from the Sahel region. And this is really more and more concerning. So when I met Fatoumata from Mali, this is really the first thing we talked about, and we are working together to be very active. And with this peace club, we try to set up. Because yes, it's we don't talk about it enough, but it's growing, and the fear is growing at the same time. So this is another thing where there is emergency. And finally, we also, considering the international context and seeing some superpowers showing some quote-unquote interest in Africa. Jane, my friend Jane from Nigeria, and we question that. We say, Africa knew slavery coming from North America. And after that, Africa has known colonization coming from Europe. And now China and Russia say, oh yeah, we're coming, we're going to help you. So we're working on a summit, a Pan-African summit, we plan to have next year in March, just to ask this question and say, okay, should Africa still trust the superpowers? Or yeah, there is some question to be asked there. So we will try to answer them next year during this summit, and we are working on with Jane from Nigeria, asking what they want for Africa, or is it more something they want from Africa? So put this on your calendar. Next March, we will be talking about that. And so, yeah, this is all we do at Senegal for a World Beyond War. And on top of that, of course, solidarity is another big element. And so we act in solidarity with Gaza, of course, at the moment, but with Ukraine as well, because the war is still raging there, with Haiti, Taiwan, and so many other places in the world. So we welcome everybody, but I must say that our membership is 95% of young people, and we are happy with that because they are very active and enthusiastic about everything. And yeah, there is some very, very small action. There is some bigger thing, but we welcome everybody, and because we really think that this is together that we can amplify this message of peace, and together that we can learn more from each other, and together we can build a serene and independent Africa and protect this continent from threat, internal and external. So this is what we do at Senegal for a World Beyond War. And now I put back my hat of my host hat. So thank you, Marianne. Let's move on. And now that we have met the people, I'm sure you're wondering, okay, but what do you do? And so Greta, who is our organizing director, but I really want to say that she's also a community organic farmer, because this is an important part of her life. And she's going to tell you what are the key achievements already of World Beyond War.
Thank you so much, Marian. It's really an honor to be here today, and I just am so excited by the growing momentum in Africa for a World Beyond War, this first ever conference, and again, almost 200 registrants, and just the excitement around this and the growing number of chapters. As Marian said, I am the organizing director with World Beyond War. I'm based in New York State in the United States. I've been with World Beyond War for about 6 years now. But all of my work is remote. I do work from the farm, as Marian mentioned, and work with activists around the world. And a lot of what I do is to provide basically the behind the scenes support, technical support, administrative support, and organizing support for the chapters to ultimately do that work on the ground in their communities. So Guy asked me to present some of the key achievements and history of World Beyond War, and January 1st is actually our 10th anniversary. So this was a great opportunity for me to create a video that I want to share with you all to show you what we've done in the past 10 years. So if you give me a few seconds, I will pull up that video now. January 1st, 2024 marks the 10th anniversary of World Beyond War, a global nonviolent movement to end all wars. World Beyond War was founded on January 1st, 2014, when co-founders David Hartsoe and David Swanson set out to create a global movement to abolish the institution of war itself, not just the war of the day. Since our founding, tens of thousands of people and over 800 organizations in 194 countries have signed World Beyond War's Declaration of Peace, pledging to work for a just and sustainable peace. Our work debunks the myths that war is inevitable, just, necessary, or beneficial. We work locally and globally, using education, media, and nonviolent activism to move the world away from wars, militarism, and violence, and towards peace. Key to World Beyond War's work is the holistic opposition to the institution of war at large, not only all current wars and violent conflicts, but the industry of war itself, the ongoing preparations for war that feed the profitability of the system. This abolitionist approach sets World Beyond War apart from many other organizations. We engage in formal education as well as every variety of informal and participatory education interwoven in our media and activism work. Our seminal book, A Global Security System, An Alternative to War, the AGSS, provides a blueprint for ending war, one that is rooted in the strategies of demilitarizing security, managing conflict non-violently, and creating a culture of peace. The AGSS and its accompanying study, War No More, Discussion and Action Guide, received the 2018-2019 Educators Challenge Award by the Global Challenges Foundation. World Beyond War is also the recipient of the 2020 George F. Regas Courageous Peacemaker Award and the 2021 U.S. Peace Prize by the U.S. Peace Memorial Foundation. We have taught more than 15 online courses, graduating over 1,300 alumni, including War Abolition 101 and 201, War in the Environment, Leaving World War II Behind, Organizing 101, and more. In partnership with Rotary Action Group for Peace, we spearheaded the Peace Education and Action for Impact program, a peace-building and leadership program that has supported over 20 youth-led peace projects in 19 countries. And since 2016, World Beyond War has hosted our popular annual No War Conference, creating a space that brings together hundreds of participants from dozens of countries to learn, network, strategize, and organize towards the abolition of war. At World Beyond War, we make use of all variety of media and communications, creating video, audio, text, and graphic media, and interacting with media outlets large and small, including by monitoring and criticizing the pro-war media to which we strive to provide a counterweight. We are known for our webinars and have provided webinar hosting and technical assistance to many grassroots groups around the world. Our webinars and videos have over 300,000 views and counting. And thousands of listeners have tuned in to the World Beyond War monthly podcast, which features the voices and personal stories of anti-war activists around the world. In the past 10 years, we have put up dozens of pro-peace, anti-war billboards all over the world, including the US, Canada, Germany, Ireland, and Montenegro. One of our most frequent messages being that just 3% of US military spending could end starvation on Earth. World Beyond War is also known for our original research and extensive resources. In particular, our research on the impact of US foreign military bases was published by the Quincy Institute and has been referenced as the preeminent source on the topic. To present this data in a digestible format, we launched a one-of-a-kind interactive online tool that illustrates the extent of the US military base empire, mapping out more than 800 bases worldwide. We also host a one-of-a-kind searchable resources database with over 1,000 entries that collates both original resources and materials from partner organizations, such as books, fact sheets, infographics, films, and more. And we curate the Mapping Militarism project, which maps out where wars are, where troops are stationed, where weapons are located around the world. Complementing our education and media work, World Beyond War's nonviolent activism functions through a decentralized, distributed grassroots organizing model, focused on building power at the local level. We currently coordinate 28 chapters in 17 countries and maintain partnerships with nearly 100 affiliates around the world. From taking action to block the arms trade to promoting a global nuclear ban, from campaigning in solidarity with communities in active war zones to amplifying calls for decolonization, World Beyond War's organizing work takes many forms around the globe. World Beyond War staff provides tools, trainings, and resources to empower our chapters and affiliates to organize in their own communities based on what campaigns resonate most with their members, while at the same time organizing towards the long-term goal of war abolition. Together with our chapters and allies, World Beyond War has passed resolutions, divested cities from weapons, demilitarized municipal police forces, mobilized unarmed civilian protection teams in war zones, blocked weapons shipments, blockaded arms fairs, mobilized massive international weeks of action, and much more. Our high-profile, nonviolent direct actions shine a light on the governments and corporations complicit in the war machine and have made international media headlines. And through our organizing, training, and resources, we have mobilized other activists worldwide to go out and do the same. We invite you to join the movement for war abolition. Follow us at World Beyond War on all major social media platforms and learn more at WorldBeyondWar.org. And with that introduction, I'd like to pass it off to my colleague, Rachel Small, who is World Beyond War's Canada organizer. And Rachel will go a little bit more into depth of how to start a chapter and provide some examples of what chapters have done in Canada. So go ahead, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Greta. And you'll see some overlap because, of course, a lot of what World Beyond War does is happening through our chapters all over the world. Can everyone see these photos properly?
Yes.
Great. So as Greta mentioned, I'm the Canada organizer with World Beyond War. So I support the chapters that are within Canada. But I will say that some of what our Canadian chapters are doing is also what our other chapters are doing around the world. So this is sort of some examples of what has been happening. So first of all, I wanted to share an example of how a chapter can get started. This was in Toronto, actually just 1 month ago, where we held a launch party to launch a brand new chapter. It's a bit cold in Toronto this time of year, so we held a campfire outside so people could be warm, could cook some food together, and also just come together in a friendly way to decide whether or not we wanted to start a new chapter. We also had talks from different community members, allied organizations, talking about how they hoped that we could all work together, and that if a new World Beyond War chapter was launched, we could take on campaigns together. We also gave people a chance to vote. This is called a dotmocracy. So it's where people can vote sort of with dots or stickers about what they want to work on. So this was just one example of the votes that happened that day about what should the chapter start working on. This chapter was started right as a new wave of violence was picking up in Israel and Palestine. And so that has been a focus of the new chapter's work. You can see here them marching, just a few members, there's many more, marching just a few days ago, calling for a ceasefire in Israel and Palestine, and calling for Canada to stop sending weapons to Israel, because we know what those weapons are doing right now in Gaza. So our brand new chapter started at a very busy time and has really hit the ground running. Here you can see something else they've been doing again just a few days ago, holding a protest in front of their member of parliament, so in front of their local government rep, who also is the Minister of Justice for the whole country. So this was some news coverage that we got. And then they also have been showing up as we work with other groups to actually protest at weapons factories. And in this case, actually block the doors, the entrances to the weapons factory for one day, to say that we won't let you keep making weapons in our backyard that we know are being used to murder families and children and people in Gaza. So that's an example of one new chapter that sort of launched and hit the ground running. The campaign to get Canada to stop arming Israel is very connected to other campaigns that our chapters have been doing in Canada over the past few years, because Canada is becoming a major weapons producer and arms dealer. So there's been a campaign for many years to also get Canada to stop selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, because of Saudi Arabia's, they're doing lots of things with these weapons that we oppose, but specifically because of Saudi Arabia's role in the war in Yemen. And so for years, chapters have been working with allies across the country to try to put pressure on the Canadian government with things like banner drops over the rail lines where the weapons are transported. This is a protest at the top here in front of the Prime Minister's office. There's been petitions and letters and public events and lots of stuff around this campaign. Here's our Montreal chapter delivering petitions that we got 68 different organizations in Canada to sign on to, and they're delivering this to Global Affairs Canada, so to someone in the government who's connected to approving the licenses to send weapons overseas. So this is an example of how chapters are part of a national campaign, and they're doing things in their city that is connected to what people are doing all over. Similarly, we've also been trying to get Canada not to buy more weapons for its own military to use. So they really want to buy 88 new fighter jets, which are Lockheed Martin's F-35s. These are the same fighter jets that have bombed almost half the world at this point, horrific weapons of war. And so we've been trying to get Canada to not buy them and to spend the money instead on what we actually need to keep us safe. I just want to highlight one chapter member in Vancouver, so on the west side of Canada, decided to have a fast, so where he didn't eat for 14 days as his way of protesting this purchase. And we helped him get a lot of media attention. And then all of these people around the country joined as well, even just in their own home, and took pictures to show that they also were fasting, and they also were demanding that these warplanes not be purchased. And here's some other examples of protests, again, around Lockheed Martin, around their fighter jets that Canada was wanting to buy. So this was some great coordination between the different chapters in the country. There also is lots of showing up at protests, in this case, at a military arms fair. So where all the weapons companies and all the government officials who want to buy them from all over the world come together. So there's been really strong protest there the past few years. I also wanted to share different types of chapter work. So in this case, really working with the local government to try to change bigger laws, but also just change sort of local resolutions to say our city supports the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. So our city joins cities all over the world in calling for, the abolition of nuclear weapons. So that's working with their city councilors to get a resolution put forward, to get city councilors to vote for it. and so forth. And then at the same time holding public events where people can learn about this campaign. So remembering people who have been killed by nuclear weapons and why is it important to organize against them. Lots of different ways that chapters in smaller towns can bring in their community, holding music festivals, working in some cases with the local legion, so with veterans in their community who were members of the military and now want to work with them for peace. A lot of our chapters are finding that in addition to sort of getting fancy spaces to hold events, it's also great to just go out in your community park. Here, they're doing a presentation with a giant piece of art that's talking about sort of global connections around violence, but also around resistance and movements for peace. And here in Toronto, they're holding a Cones Not Drones ice cream stand where they're giving out ice cream, that's the cones, and talking about the harm of military drones at the same time. So a really fun way to connect with the community, to meet more people and get people involved that way. There are so many different things that our chapters do in Canada and around the world. Just a few examples are things like book clubs, can even be people getting together in their living room every few weeks to talk about a book they're all reading together so they can learn. Film screenings for the public, partnering with all of the other allied groups in their country or region or city, lots of media work, writing letters to local newspapers or writing articles. Some of them are really active on social media, so putting out great graphics, photos of what they're doing. They are hosting webinars of all sorts of different types, and also showing up where people in their community are already gathering. So I mentioned parks, but also festivals, farmers markets. If there are places where the community is already coming together, then that's a great place for the chapter to be as well. Oops, sorry about that. And then finally, just a few more photos of what some of the work of Canadian chapters has looked like. That's it for me. Thank you so much. Oh, you're still muted, Marian.
Thank you very much, Greta, for the video, and thank you very much, Rachel, for all these examples. I see in the chat that many people are asking if there is a chapter, a World Beyond War chapter in this country in Africa. This is a very good sign. It means that some of you are thinking of joining or starting a chapter in your own country. So what we're going to do now is that we're really going to answer your question, your specific question about how to do that. So I invite you to use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen and to ask this question, and I'm going to relay them to our speakers today. And while you are doing this, I just want to tell you that I went through this process very recently, and I can really tell you that it's an easy-peasy process. There is a training that your self-paced training, so you go through this at your own pace and you learn a lot. And when you feel ready, you just get in touch with Greta, and every step of the way she is with you, and you can set up your own web page, and you are helped to how to find your first members and everything. So now I'm just gonna have a look. I think we already have a question here. Let me have a look. Maybe Guy, if you want to unmute yourself and answer about the emerging chapters, because we have had question about Somalia, Sudan. Tell us about these, please.
Yes, I already said some few things about this in the chapter, in the box, I mean. And in the presentation I'm going to do after this, maybe I will answer again this question. So I will better do the presentation, and from there we can have a
Absolutely, yeah. Through your presentation, some question are going to be answered naturally.
Yeah, and I would just say in general to some of the questions that are coming in the chat, kind of as Marian said, that we have an Organizing 101 training that we developed, which, as Marian said, is a self-paced training. You can do it on your own time. And that's really kind of an introduction to World Beyond War's work and what is a chapter and some basic organizing strategies and tactics. So that would be the first step. I mean, the first step is contact me, and then I send the resources over, you know, the course and some other materials, and that's usually how we get started, is just to review those materials, to walk yourself through the course and get familiar with our work, and then kind of come back to me after that with any questions. And then, you know, as Marian said, kind of working together with me to, you know, analyze your region. Okay, what kind of chapter, what is the focus of the chapter, or what are the issues in the area that we want to focus on, or how can we recruit members, and brainstorming different ideas around that. And then usually, you know, talking about a first launch meeting and what that's going to look like. So yeah, I would say just get in touch with me and I can start walking you through that process of, you know, giving you those materials and walking through these steps. So hopefully that answers some of the questions that have been coming in the chat.
So, Guy, do you want to go with your presentation, or because we already have some other question in the chat? So,
okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. You can just make it full screen if you'd like.
Yes. Okay,
Perfect.
so I'm just going to share some of the key achievements of what we did since we started the chapter in Cameroon. And in this, we are going also to see where it started. So to start answering some of the questions that are coming in the chat. So World Beyond War in Cameroon started with this online course on from July 6 to August 16 on war and environment. So I was this 6-week course. And then at the end, as considering the exchanging that was happening in the course, what we learned, I was seeing that there were a lot of consideration of what is happening in other parts of the world, and people do not even know what are some of the wars and the challenges, the situation in Africa. So that's why, and I found that at that moment that there are some affiliates of World Beyond War in Africa, but there were no chapter. So I decided to go ahead and start a chapter and try to build this movement around and make people outside of Africa see what are some of our challenges and the opportunities we have in our continent to contribute to peace work. That's why we started. And then the second step was this 101 organizing training that Marion and Greta just mentioned. And it ended by this certificate that I consider like a birth certificate of World Beyond War in Cameroon. Yes, this certificate is when you complete this training, and at the training you have lots of module on how to organize your chapter, how to mobilize, how to do campaigns, how to do conduct advocacy and things like that. And the most important thing is that you do it when you can. There's no pressure. You do when you have time, when you need. So we just have a number of modules that you have to go through and do some evaluation and have the test completed. And after that, you have this certificate, and then you can start the chapter in your country or in your city. So in Cameroon, how it started in Cameroon. So just a few things about Cameroon. Cameroon is a country located in Central Africa, It has 10 regions, and it is considered as African nature because in Cameroon we have several cultures, several vegetation, several what we have in Africa, in several parts of Africa, we can find it in Cameroon. And Cameroon is also a bilingual country with 2 official languages, one being French and the other English. And Cameroon is an old colony from German Empire, and that was later on administrated by German and Great Britain. That's why we have this bilingualism aspect. And Cameroon got independence in 1960. Yes, this is some of the few details I know about Cameroon. But why was it necessary for us to have World Beyond War in Cameroon? Just because of this security context. This map shows most of the conflict that we have in Cameroon. This is already about 10 years that we have this conflict, and up to this date, the conflict are still present, and we have insurgency of Boko Haram in the northern part of the country. We have the crisis in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, that's the northwest and southwest, that you see in the red in the map. That is the most intense crisis happening now. A lot of killing happening every day. And we also have, as consequences of this, was a lot of displacement in the country. The part in yellow, as you see, the country, we have refugees, we have refugees because of the crisis in neighboring countries like Central African Republic and Chad. And yes, we have also one of the most important conflict in Cameroon, that orange part you see, have got inter-ethnic and intergenerational conflict that have also lots of impacts in country. So this is why we thought it was necessary to have a chapter World Beyond country to address some of these countries with a youth perspective, finding alternatives to violence, bringing non-violence discussion to address this conflict. Yes, in the newspaper in Cameroon, every day you'll see deaths every day in Cameroon because of the wars. And many children not going to school. Many schools have closed, hospitals have burned, entire villages have been destroyed. Yes, because of the war. And says these are some of the issues that our chapter decided to address. Like we have in this situation, youth are excluded in democracy and peace initiative, and the indigenous mechanism that we have in Africa that can be used to prevent conflict and build peace are not considered in our context. We have no political transition, lots of corruption, poverty, poor governance in a country that make peace not happen. And when people, civil society actors, political actors try to work on these issues, there is this shrinking space that is like a weapon used by the government for people not to talk about what is happening, but not to talk about the situation. And yes, we think we really need to find ways to do that. And there are new forms of imperialism that exist, and this is why we find some of the root causes of the crisis in the English-speaking part of Cameroon. Yes, and this, what do we do? How do we contribute? What type of peace activities we try to do in Cameroon? Just to show some of the example of that, we as a chapter of Cameroon of World Beyond War, we have program on peace education, we have program on disarmament and environment, and another one on democracy to prevent political violence that we also started. And we do network, we do trainings, we do awareness raising on these issues to make people be interested in and consider what are the opinions of the youth, because our membership is generally younger persons. And how we take action in Cameroon. So we do trainings. This is, for example, the Peace Education and Action for Impact project that was global, and a Cameroon team was represented in this project, such as some others in Africa, like in Kenya, in Sudan, in Nigeria. We have this country, this like a cohort of young people who were trained to develop a peace project in Cameroon. And this was done during 6-week online training. And at the end, they also have 8 weeks to develop a peace project. And when this project was developed, they also have a congratulatory letter from the government to acknowledge this effort and encourage people to continue this work. And we also promote peace programs to end violence. And in this particular example, we participated in a pilot project to determine the effectiveness of the Ignite Cycle curriculum to move participants to live its message, a promise of a child, this book, and promote it through ever-expanding Ignite Cycle to become global movement and systemic injustice, which led to war, killings of children. On the third day of this conference, we'll have to say a few more things about this Ignite Cycle program that we have in Cameroon. We do campaigns for peace, and also with the partnership of other organizations here. This happened on the 21st of September, the Peace Day. And here in the school, with other organizations like Women Peace Initiatives, together in the school to raise awareness about the contribution of teachers to peace building. What are some of the things that the children can do in school to prevent cohesion among themselves? Yes, we are involved in human peace and security and youth peace and security agendas to try to bring the voices of young people in the national dialogue processes in Cameroon. We do disarmament campaigns here, for example, showing a campaign to stop the autonomous weapons, Kiloropos, and we also do a campaign on the nuclear, to stop nuclear weapons. And Women's International League for Peace and Freedom is starting a project in Cameroon. It started in September 2023 to foster social cohesion among youth to prevent political violence and hate speech in Cameroon. And our chapter, Cameroon for World Beyond War, is an implementing part of this project that is funded by the UN Democracy Fund. And we have some activities that we will do to contribute to the development of this project in Cameroon. And our activities also go beyond Cameroon, and we also take action in Africa. As we see here, we were in Kenya. Jane mentioned it when she was talking about Nigeria. This was to foster youth participation in democracy to prevent conflict and build peace in our continent. We were in Kenya as part of the project to reset democracy, going through the informal sectors with young people to see what type of mechanisms can be established for youth to participate in the democracy and also to contribute in preventing violence. And we also build connection for peace between World Beyond War members and other actors. Recently, we have the visit in Cameroon of a board member of Peace Brigade International, and the connection was made down to Wilf, whose international president is here in this photo. And this photo was in Cameroon as part of this visit. And the connection was made so that the Peace Brigade International could also visit chapter in Burundi, also discuss with chapters in Nigeria and DRC, and also from our partners from Rwanda. Yes, this discussion happened. And today we are showing one of these example of our movement building in Africa. This conference is part of this strategy to expand the vision of World Beyond War on the continent. And so far, we have chapters in Cameroon, Burundi, Nigeria, and Senegal. And we have emerging chapters in Cote d'Ivoire, DRC, Mali, Uganda. And there are activists in Kenya, in Sierra Leone, in Zimbabwe, yes, who also initiated, at least that they started to be interested of having a chapter. The process is still ongoing. So these are not yet formal chapters, but there is something that have already started in those countries. And globally, we also take action. And there is an initiative we invite a colleague from Ghana to talk about this Fix the Country campaign. It's a campaign that started in Ghana, but that is gaining space in several countries in Africa and even beyond. And from Cameroon, we are engaging in this campaign to fix our country, to see some of the things that impede peace to happen, and to call accountability of our government, and engage more people to work for peace. So we also have included in this dialogue North-South countries, to engage North-South country in like that dialogue to improve relationship between Africa and the global South, and the industrialized countries. This is one of the commitment that we have. We are bringing more people in the region to be part of this this dialogue. It is very informal, but we want to make it formal. Yes, this is done with challenges, and there is continued militarization and masculinization of force in our country. A lot of weapons flowing in the country. As David mentioned at the beginning, weapons that are not manufactured in Africa, but are being sold in Africa, are being used in Africa to commit lots of atrocities. And it's climate crisis, we have poverty, I have mentioned, and we also have a lot of traditional conflict resolution mechanisms that exist, but that are not used. And then to mention some few opportunities that we have to address this, there is this interest of World Beyond War in the continent, and I see it as a good opportunity for us to confront these challenges, to bring peace in our continent. We have more youth who are denouncing militarization and who are advocating for cultural peace values. It is very important to mention it. We have partnership building across the continent. A lot of people wanting to work together to build partnerships, to create awareness together. Yes, we have capacity building of local organization on the development of peace project, like the example I mentioned from the case of Cameroon. And for me, if you have these campaigns, more of these trainings, we'll have a future generation of people who talk more about peace and less about conflict and wars. So this is how World Beyond War started in Africa. Some of the things we have been able to do. There are still a lot more. In 15 minutes, we cannot talk about all that, but this is some of the few things. So if you can contact us and we keep the conversation and do this together. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Guy, and congratulations for everything that you've already done. Yeah, congratulations. So for everybody, I think what to remember is two things. Greta at WorldBeyondWar.org and Cameroon for wbw@gmail.com. If you reach out to one of these persons, you will have your question answered for sure. So now, if it would be an in-person event, it would be the time, where we have a little snack, a little drink, we introduce yourself to people, we share ideas, project, and it's what we're gonna do, even if it's just virtually. You're gonna receive in a few seconds a message on your screen asking you if you want to join breakout rooms. And you can refuse, of course, but if you want, you just click, yes, I want to join. And you're going to be in another room with just a few persons, and you're going to be able to introduce yourself and to ask this, and to just meet this stranger that came here today, because you all have peace at heart, and you will be able to share what you know about World Beyond War, what you still want to learn about it. And after that, we're going to be in this room maybe for 10 minutes. Then we'll come back all together to close this first day, because it's already time to close it. But there is 2 more days, so that's okay. So just wait for a few seconds and this message is going to come and you just have to click join. And don't forget to come back after, because I'm going to be alone here waiting for you.
Okay, the breakout rooms have been opened, so people should see those invitations on your screen. You should see a button to join the room. And if you're having any issues, you can just unmute yourself and let us know, and we can help you get into a breakout room. Elvis, do you need help getting into a breakout room?
Hello, Grace Zaro.
Hi,
Hello.
Leon.
Yeah, today the connection was very, very difficult to us. I hope tomorrow we will be ready to give our presentation.
Okay, no worries, we understand. Would you like to go into a breakout room?
Greta, please help me because I was
Okay.
lost. My network was not good.
Okay, you should see an invitation on your screen. Okay, everyone here, you should see an invitation to be able to join your breakout room. Hello. How did the breakout room go, Michelle?
Hi, there was nothing going on in the breakout room, but I'm having a problem with connection. So I'm
Okay.
not sure if it's the issues on my side that I couldn't hear the other participants. I'm really not sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure either. I can try to put you in another room if you want.
Okay, that's fine.
Let me see. And for everyone else who's here, I will send you an invitation to join a breakout room. And let's see. You should see a button on your screen that asks you to join a breakout room, and if you click that, it will take you into the rooms.
So, hello, Greta.
Hi, how are you?
I can't change the name. We had originally our Zoom registered under him,
Yeah,
but not possible that I can change the name. I don't know.
I can change it for you. We just disabled it for the participants.
Okay.
There
So
you
then
go,
I
I
can change.
changed it.
Warte mal, let me see. No, I don't. Yeah, this is okay. Now you have changed, no?
Yes, I
You
did.
see, I had an eye operation today, no? So
Oh
this
my
was a problem.
gosh.
But tomorrow it's away, no? It's just for one day.
Okay.
It has to be covered.
Well, thanks for coming anyway.
It's good. Yeah, and I want also to go to a room. How many rooms do you have, or about which topics?
Well, they're just random. They're just random networking. You should see a button on your screen that's inviting you to a room. Do you see it?
No, I don't see it.
Do you see anything that says like breakout rooms on the bottom of your screen? Or sometimes it says more and then there's more options to see breakout rooms.
No, I don't see it, anything. What a minute.
Okay, let me try again then. Okay. You should see a button now. There we go. What happened? Oh, wait, you're muted.
Yeah, here nothing came where I could click on.
It looked like you went into the room and then you came back. It said that you, yeah, it said you were in the room.
Okay, then no, verlassen. Aha, warte mal, if I go verlassen, no, meeting verlassen, only to leave meeting is here written, eh? So,
Yeah, I think you were in the right place. I'll try to, I can put you in a different one. Hold on. Okay, you should see an invitation to join. Hello. Oh, you're muted.
We needed translators. We had two French speakers, and our French is not that good. So we
Oh,
couldn't really carry on a conversation.
do you want me to put you in a different room or?
It's okay. We'll, it's interesting. The support that you, Greta, are able to give to the chapters and development is really probably somewhat unique. I mean, you know, I'm with Wilf too, and Wilf has 19 sections groups in Africa, and Sylvia, I noticed, got on the call, who's the president.
Yeah.
She's from Cameroon, and there is a relationship there between Cameroon, Wilf, and the World Beyond War chapter, according to somebody who posted that in the chat. And since I can ask this question of you. I'm not sure if anybody else is in the room, but
there is one other person joining. I know Yuri is here.
Yeah, Wilf has as part of its support for sections around the world, some protocols for security for activists. And I just wondered what World Beyond War has in its package of training around that issue, because it is a real issue. Activists are attacked for speaking out and trying to organize.
Yeah. The breakout rooms are going to be closing in a second, so people are going to be joining us. But and I see Yuri. Hi, Yuri. People are just in breakout rooms now. But
hey, Greta, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm
you can give me the
good.
short answer, yes or no.
I'm surprised I'm your first person to show up at a World Beyond War event, but anywho.
You're not the first person. Everyone's in breakout rooms right now, but they're coming back from the breakout rooms. Yeah. But as people are coming back, I'll just try to answer the question. Yeah, I think it is a difficult question. There have been different moments of, you know, security issues, and we've been able to provide some consultation, or, you know, it's sort of very context specific. And in certain cases, we've been able to provide help, or if we couldn't provide help, you know, direct people to resources in their area, organizations that we know. So I guess that's the short answer.
Yeah, well, you might look to Wilf. It has kind of a committee that works on that, so it might be a resource.
Okay, yeah, that's great to know.
Written up protocols and have some good you know, so you might be able to partner on that particular thing.
Great, thank you. So people are just coming back from the breakout rooms now. It's about 11 seconds until the breakout rooms close. Welcome, everybody. Okay. Everybody should be back at this point. So, Marian, I will turn it back to you to moderate this final section of today.
So welcome back, everybody. At this point, we wanted to share maybe some things that have been said in the breakout rooms, but we just have a few minutes left before the end of the conference. So if there is something you'd like to share, just use the raised hand feature at the bottom of your screen. And we can do that, but we have to do it a bit quickly because we've spent a lot of time, but we have had some amazing presentations. So if there is no specific report, I'd like to close this first day with a story, because we like stories in Africa. We're very good at storytelling. And this is a very, very short story that I told one day with Guy. We were chatting and I said that, and he said, you should save it for the conference. So we're going to let you with this little stories. It's one day in the forest and there is a huge fire, and all the animals are running away, trying to escape these flames. All the animals except one, the hummingbird. And this little guy goes to the river, get one drop of water, and go back to the fire and drop it. Then he went back to the river, take another drop, just a drop, go back to the fire. River, fire, river, fire. And one of the animals told him, "Hey, fool, what are you doing? You're not going to stop the fire with your little beak and your little drops of water." And he just answered, "Yeah, maybe I'm not going to stop it, but I try. I do my best. And I invite you to do the same, because what is essential, what matters is just to try." And Guy told me, this is what we do at World Beyond, where we're not going to stop all wars just like that over the night, but we try, and we have all these little hummingbirds all over the world. So I'll let you fly, hummingbirds, but don't forget to come back tomorrow. Same time, same Zoom link, and tomorrow we're going to talk more about the challenges really that we face on our daily mission here in Africa. So thank you very much, all of you, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Marian, for moderating day one.
Bye.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes,
Thank
bye-bye.
you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.